Hello again, Chris G4NAB, this time with version 25 of SVXlink for a repeater. The same thing applies. Please plug in your device before you power it up. Ensure your SD card contains a Raspberry OS Bookworm Lite 32-bit. Turn it on and wait for the boot up. And here we go. We shall now move on to my terminal screen. As I explained in my last video, I use the Windows administrative terminal on the command prompt. It works just as well, and it will accept the SSH commands that we need. Here we go. SSH. Click in the box. SSH pi at pi.local. Do we want to connect? Yes, we do. There we go. We're in, and Raspberry is the password, and we're in. First, as I explained yesterday, we need to update the OS. Sudo update, apt update 2 ampersands to concatenate sudo apt upgrade -y, and I'll pause you so while that's cooking. Right, with the updates now complete, we now have to install Git, and this is how we do it. Sudo apt install -y git. This will take a mere moment or two in order for us to clone the repository where my script is maintained. That's that. Okay, sudo git clone https github.com/f5vmr, my French call sign, and SVXlink builder. And that's now being imported into a folder of its own in the root directory. Now then, because that script downloads version 24, we need to change the script to one that is hiding in the background, as it were. So we go cd SVXlink builder sudo git check out SVX builder _v3. We now change the software inside. Now we go back to the original root directory cd. Now we start the bash script. Sudo, no, we don't do sudo this time, /SVXlink builder /pre-install.sh. Just verifying that we are using Bookworm and the user is still Pi. Now whilst this is doing it, I explain what's happening. As it stands at the moment, the USB sound card is not in the right numbered position within the Raspberry Pi OS. So amongst other things, we have to blacklist the onboard sound port, remove the HDMI sound source, and install it into the proper place so that our sound card will end up as position 0. And whilst the rest of the information is downloaded, I can tell you that that is basically building the back office for the dashboard, which will eventually be installed, and then it will download the package SVXlink and install that. SVXlink from the original repository doesn't work in this way. You require to compile it. This is why I've shortcut it for you, so it downloads and installs as an APT with the dpkg command. And it does it automatically, so you haven't got to interface with it at all. At the end of this stage, the Raspberry Pi will shut down and reboot. It's installing the PHP software, which is the basis of the command structure within the dashboard. I'll come back to you as it completes. Right, the installation has completed and the Pi has been sent off to reboot. And we're just waiting for that to reset, and then we can go back into the terminal to complete the menu build for the repeater. It should be long enough. Yes, we are in. And the up arrow displays the last known command, which was pre-install. So we'll remove the pre. So we're now going to install. And here we go. Selecting English, United Kingdom. That's one of the choices. The welcome page, the configuration, we do not have an SA818 device, and our options are transmit and receive being fully modified. And we're going to go for a repeater node with SvxReflector. Node call sign G4NAB-R. You name it what you like. You don't have to have the -R at all if you don't want to. If it's a straightforward repeater, just put the call sign in. It's just doing the back office stuff. Well, the dashboard username will keep with our standard SVXlink and the password for the moment. We can change that later. Dashboard is installed. SvxReflector key, I'm going to use my own special one. And we selected no type repeater with UK SvxReflector. And we're going to use 24-hour clock time. We must have -10 at least in here, and 650 in here, and 120 in there. Short period identification, we will have 15 minutes and an hour on the hour. And we want to do a short voice enable and long voice enable on both of them. And we'll have a K. Now then, for those who've already watched the other video, you don't get this option with a simplex version. Now, there is a period of idleness for the time somebody last drops carrier after the Roger K or beep, just to signify that the repeater is available still for next transmission. And this can be one of several things. It can be a bell tone, boing, boing, or a mellow chime where the frequencies are closer together, or a pip tone if you prefer, or no sound at all. I do like the chime, I must say. Our current idle timeout is 30 seconds. That's a bit long in my own. Let's shorten that to 10. and that's been updated. Do we want to configure the meta module? Yes, we do. So we'll have our local airport, a couple of others locally, let's have these from Bradford, and we're going to have Belfast City and Aldergrove, and we'll stick with Newcastle as the local one. Yes, we're going to install SvxLink, and we know that G4NAB-R is the registered SvxLink call sign. SvxLink password is there. Sysop name is me, and we're on 145.6, and the location is Northumberland. Right, it says it's complete, so we need to go to the dashboard. So what we'll do, we'll just hit OK on that for the moment. Now we want to get ourselves into the dashboard. As you see on the lower left hand side, it says editing is not authorized. So we click on authorize on the menu, and we type in our username, SVXlink, and our password, and we click on submit. We are now authorized. So we go to the SVXlink and see what went wrong. Well, don't see anything wrong immediately on that first few lines, but we'll scroll down. Repeater logic is correct, reflector logic is correct. The link to the reflector hasn't been clicked in, so that's something that I'm going to have to look at prior to releasing the software. And we're going to highlight that. And simplex logic we're not working with. We'll scroll on past that to reflector logic, repeater logic rather, and we haven't installed module SvxLink or a module meta information. So we've installed that, we will have installed that momentarily. Let's scroll on down. The time intervals are correct, and that is correct, that is correct, that is correct, correct, correct. Idle timeout is 10 correct. Open on Scotch, yes. Open Scotch flank, yes, that is correct. Idle timeout is correct. Scotch timeout is set to 3 minutes. I'll explain more in a moment. There are some other features which I haven't enabled yet, but if you want to ask questions about those, please feel free to ask them by email. Reflector V2 is correct, the portal is correct, the call sign is correct, the rest of the information is the authorization key is set in there. Talk groups is there. Now this is where you can add talk groups that you want. For example, if you were in East Sussex, then you would add 23510 in your list. If you're up in the north, then you want 23560. There are a number of other talk groups. Scroll on down. Scroll on down. That is correct, correct, correct. Repeater logic is set up correct. Default's correct. Activate on activities not required because it's set to start immediately. Excuse me, not looking at the camera whilst I move the window to in front of me. So it doesn't make any difference to you, it does to me. What I'm going to do is just expand the side of the window. Just a bit further. There you go. And we'll go down to check on the audio side of things. RX1 is set correct, high draw is correct, squelch delay is correctly set, hang time a little bit, that's correct. And we should be down here as dev high draw 0 and ball down, which is correct. That is correct. Scotch tail eliminations. This is to reduce the ka-chunk noise when someone ceases to speak. That's said correctly. Then we go on down to the TX levels. Local correct. Hydro is correct. Dev Hydro GPIO 3 is correct. TX delay 500. This is to allow a bit of delay before the voice announcements go out. That is correct. The rest of the information there is no longer required. Location information we haven't set yet, so we'll sit on that and push save and reload. Okay, we've now got active logics and we've got the modules loaded, which is what we didn't have before. The only thing we lack at the moment is the call sign at the top, but that will come up shortly when I change a couple of things that you will not have to worry about in the future. So let's assume that is correct for the moment, so the call sign will appear eventually, but we shall work on that as and when. Other things we've got here, we can look at the SVXlink settings. There they are. Looking at my password, thank you very much. And the METAR information is set correctly. So that works. So the TCL voicemail is not installed or enabled at this time. Node information is where we can change the your latitude and longitude and your Maidenhead locator. And you've also access to the power structure as well. If you can restart the service, restart the whole device, or shut it down. You also adjust the mixer here. Now there are some settings there which had not been enabled, so we'll put 65 in there. That should be 0, and that should be 25, and that should most definitely be off. Apply the settings and they should change. However, for some reason that's not changed to what I set it to. Not an issue, I'll explain. To do that, let's go back to this box. Sudo SvxReflector. As you see, it's set to 100%. We don't really want that. And if we go to F5, we can see all 4 of the controls. We want to set this to around 69 will do. That should definitely be 0. That should be shifted along to there. We'll put that on around 35. We take off the auto gain control. To save the settings, we go escape, sudo alsa-ctl store. So the next time it reboots, it was correctly set. So we can forget about the A mixer settings because they clearly are misleading. But we are now correct in that we can go back to our dashboard in the node, and you see that the call sign is now appearing. Clicking on talk groups gives you an overview of some general use talk groups, not the definitive list, because if you go to the dashboard for the portal to which you have elected to connect, you'll have this in front of you. which suggests that there are a lot more talk groups available. Some of these talk groups are not in the normal line of things, so to speak. What I have done is create some links to some all-star node links, all-star link nodes even, including this one here. First of all, the boredom net 49562 is treated as a talk group. Scrolling on down, we've got the East Coast net of the United States 9050, the Freedom net 23525, and we have further down Ham Radio 2.0 43136, and further on down the Northwest All-Star Group at 53573, and the Open Online Amateur Radio Club at 47920. So they are other talk groups that you can locate. Go back to the dashboard again. So there are other aspects of the dashboard that don't work yet. I don't profess to have designed it completely myself. The only bits that I have changed are the way that the modules are visualized and the way that you are authorized to edit. I've clicked on SVXlink in the full edit, and of course by clicking on dashboard earlier on, I've deauthorized myself, so I need to go to authorize again. SVXlink and password. And now authorized again, click on the SVXlink full edit, and there we've got access to this. Obviously, as they sys up and you may have been exposing your dashboard for public scrutiny, you don't want them messing about with it, so you will need to change your password, and I will show you ways to do that when you ask. It's something that I do not want to expose, obviously, to full public gaze. You want to keep security on your repeater dashboard quite secure. So this has been installation of version 25 of the SVXlink protocol to a repeater setting. If you need to change it to another reflector, then that is editable as well, of course. Anything else you might need, please drop me a line. My email address is available on my qrz.com page. Best wishes, have a good day. I forgot to come back to the timeout, the 180 seconds. I developed some code and put it in the original logic.tcl file, which was in version 24, but I then submitted it to Tobias, who looked at it and has rehashed where it goes to great effect. It makes this extra command that's been put into the repeater logic deals with it directly, so you can adjust the period of timeout. And what happened was that the other settings for timeout were either shutting off the repeater input while someone was talking too long, or shutting on repeater output off, which was also counterintuitive. It meant that when somebody eventually dropped the microphone, dropped the PTT, he would then get bombarded with the fact that, oh, you've timed out on the repeater, what was it you saying? And make him repeat it all over again, which meant that he could risk going into the timeout scenario yet again by talking too long. So this new timeout facility actually puts a pip on the output of the repeater just underneath the audio from the offending station, and then will give him a warning of timeout when he eventually drops the PTT, just to give him a verbal prompt. and nobody misses anything that they might have missed if the repeater had shut him off in the old way. So that's the reason for the adjustment. I hope that works. Again, bye for now.